Shalom Yashala. First and foremost, I'm gonna begin this sit down by saying Barakafar Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakwa Kodash. I'm gonna also say double honors to our apostles and elders at GreatMillStone that rule well. Salutations to all of the sincere Akim that diligently stay out here pushing this truth, pushing out that vibration of Babylon being destroyed, which it ought to be, man. Very, very, very soon. I'm gonna go into the topic of this World War III, as you can see right here. This is an article that the brother Yakanan from the GMSLondon camp shared. It says the US just warned Russia that it would destroy banned Russian nuclear weapons. So, you know, pursuant to Ezekiel the 36th chapter, which I'm going to get into in a minute, Russia and America are jostling for power, man. Yeah, they're the two superpowers, the two major boxers, and the heavyweight fight is about to start. Yeah, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is going to put it in the spirit of Russia and America to go at it, and respectively their allies. You see, this World War III that we're about to step into, every other nation on the planet Earth is going to be involved, man. There ain't going to be no safe hiding spots. Everywhere is going to be affected. I'm going to go into this article for a bit, pick out some key points and hit them up with scriptures that I've lined up. So let's begin. The US threatened to attack Russian missile development sites over what it considers production of banned nuclear capable missiles. Now, America has the most basically the most bases across the planet. They manufacture the most weapons out of every nation on the planet Earth. You look at the top 100 weapons manufacturers, they all, let's say over 60% of them are American. Now, they're basically going around the planet saying no one else can have these kind of weapons, no one else can have these capabilities because they're restricted to us. That's the damn devil. That's the spirit of the so-called white man. He's out here manufacturing weapons, what he would refer to as weapons of mass destruction. But when other nations have those capabilities, it's a problem. Fucking devil. Yeah? The US has long warned Russia about producing missiles that violate the 1987 Intermediate Nuclear Forces Treaty. So again, basically, apparently America can have missiles, but when Russia has their arms, it's a problem. Let's see. The US envoy to NATO said Tuesday that it might move to destroy Russian nuclear-capable missiles with military force if they don't stop building the new weapons, accused of violating the 1987 treaty. The US has long accused Russia of working on Iskander missiles, or nuclear-capable cruise missiles with a range of 310 to 620 miles, but Russia has consistently denied the charges while denying inspections. Why is the UK, true to Habakkuk the 2nd chapter, man, these damn devils, man, America want to go everywhere and inspect other people's setup. They're on the thing of, if you're not doing what we want, if you're not doing things to the best of our interest, then we want to come and investigate. What right do they have to go into Russian territory and investigate? Well, that's the damn devil for you, man. And that's Satan divided against Satan, just as Yahweh Shai referenced in the Gospels. But anyway, it says but Russia has consistently denied charges while denying inspections. In February, Russian media quoted officials as saying the missiles had been developed to Kaliningrad, Russia's European enclave. US Ambassador to NATO Kay Bailey Hutchinson said she thought the US and Russia could find a diplomatic solution to the perceived treaty violation, but would use force if necessary. You see, this is the Lord just putting hooks. I want to get into that. At that point, we would be looking at the capability to take out a Russian missile that could hit any of our countries, Hutchinson told a news conference according to Reuters. The International Nuclear Forces Treaty of 1987 sought to stop an arms race in Europe after Moscow in the early 1980s placed nuclear missiles capable of striking European capitals from its home turf. The US responded with a variety of its own comparable nuclear forces deployed to Europe during the height of the Cold War. The treaty was hailed as a success in arms control circles as having eliminated an entire class of nuclear weapons and largely denuclearizing Europe. But starting in 2014, US intelligence officials have speculated that the Russian Iskander violates the treaty. So basically they're saying that Russia can't develop missiles, man. But guess what? Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is going to put it in the spirit of these Russians to keep developing their missiles, because ultimately speaking, those missiles are needed, man, for the purpose of destroying that bitch America. Yeah? And Salakio, I said Ezekiel 36. Salakio, that's Ezekiel 38. Salakio. Hey, Ezekiel 38, I'm going to start from verse 1. And the word of the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. Now, obviously, you will know that Gog was Gog, and really still is, a descendant of Japhet that lived in the land of Europe at the time after the flood. You had it to where Shem and the Shemitic tribes took what is now known today as the Asian region. You had Ham within the north of Africa, and then you had the Japhetic tribes within Europe, what is now modern day Europe anyway. Yeah, but now if you know your history, those Edomites, man, those Russian Edomites predominantly have taken over that land, and those so-called Aborigines, that's what the white man classes them as, have been moved further south. You'll find them in places like South Africa, Australia, etc. Those are the children of Japhet. Yeah. Now it says here, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. So originally, yes, the people that dwelt in the land of Russia were the children of Japhet, but since I don't know the exact date, I have to look that up, but since the so-called white man moved up in there and conquered them and moved them out the land, you've got a lot of Edomites living up in the land of Gog. So when the Lord's talking about the land of Magog and Gog, he's talking about Russia in this modern day time. Yeah, the land of Gog in this modern day time where Edomites are dwelling in it. And say, Thus says the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So what the Lord Yahweh is blatantly saying there is that he's going to put the spirit of war into Russia, where even if they try and avoid it, they're inevitably going to have to fight. And that's the will of Yahweh to ultimately bring these nations, man, into war with each other. And that's a beautiful thing, because when these nations go to war with each other, we're one step closer to getting ourselves the hell out of here. What's the Salakia? We're not getting ourselves out of nowhere. It's the Salakia that was off. Yahweh is going to come and get us out of here. Yeah? Hey, in the midst of that World War III, the righteous shall scarcely be saved. But it says, that all of them are handling swords. So the modern day sword is the gun, the ICBM, and all of these other main weapons of warfare that Esau and these other nations are using. So it's saying that Gog, basically Russia, is going to come with a great company and their allies, all of them handling swords. You've got Persia. The ancient Persians are now known as the Iranians, man. Iran's in the scriptures, man. The Persians, man. That's who it's talking about. In the Medo-Persian Empire, the people, people Xerxes, Cyrus the king, etc., they would have been the Iranians. It's saying, hey, and you know what, in modern day society, Iran hates America. Hey, that's biblical prophecy, man. Because they're going to go to war with Russia against them. It says Persia, Ethiopia, the Ethiopians don't get down with America neither, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah and of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Basically, the Lord's saying, Russia needs to hold it down for the nations that it's going to go to war with America with, because America and Russia, like I mentioned earlier, are the two major superpowers, and they're the two, main players, but they're going to go to war aided by a lot of different nations. Yeah, so ultimately speaking, they're going to basically lead the charge, as it were. But this World War III is coming because it's the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, the Lord's mustering the hosts of the battle, the Lord setting everything up. And it's prophecy at the end of the day. You read it in Revelations 11 and 14, it says, the second woe was past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Straight into the point, one of those bread and butter scriptures, Salakia. But hey, man, the word woe is an old English word meaning destruction. Now, the two greatest destructions ever, when it says the two woes of past, it's talking about World War I and World War II, where casualties were in the millions, man. you know, and there was so much war damages and all kind of trauma caused. The second war was passed, the second World War's past, and although it might be belong to us, in Second Peter's third chapter, it tells you one day with the Lord is 1,000 years to man. So you gotta understand that ain't too far off from the Lord, man. Yahweh is bringing that third world war, and it's gonna kick off real soon, man. Where you can evidently see that we're in a Cold War right now, man, where America's putting sanctions on all of these different nations, some of the nations within even the EU, pursuing to Obadiah, you know, all they that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. Hey, a lot of these nations that were originally cool with America are gonna come back against this bitch, you know, and that's all biblical prophecy, man. We see all of the wars and the rumors of wars, and even if it's not between America and Russia directly, their allies are having it out. The land of Israel under the so-called Jews, that the Amalekites is causing all kind of problems right now, man. Hey, true to the prophecy, what Yahweh said in Matthew the 24th chapter in the 6th verse, and you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Hey, so don't be worried when you hear about, you know, possibility of bombs dropping, because the Lord's gonna deliver his elect. When this society gets blitzed, that's how you know we're very close to the end. It says, if not at the end itself. It says, for nation shall rise against nation, a kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Hey, there's gonna be all sorts of death, man. All sorts of death. And that's the easiest way I can explain it. Yeah? And it goes into some of the other signs, you know, about the prophets being afflicted, delivered up, some killed, people being offended, betraying one another. Hey, but the point being made, man, there's going to be a lot of wars, a lot of death, a lot of destruction. And it's all through the will of Yahweh, Shai. That's why brothers got to stay focused, man. Stay spiritual. Hey, First Peter's the first chapter in the 13th verse. Wherefore gird up your loins, gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, and hope to the end for that grace is to be brought unto you at the revelation of Yahweh Shai Mashiach. Let me read that again. Wherefore gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, and hope to the end of the grace that is to be brought unto you at the revelation of Yahweh Shai Mashiach. Yeah? Hey, stay focused, stay spiritual, keep your garments on that you don't walk naked, man. Because if you ain't got your spiritual garments on, if you ain't got that spiritual battle wear ready, you're gonna get caught out here lacking, man. That World War III spirit is really kicking off, man. It's really kicking off. You see the article. Countermeasures by the US would be to take out the missiles that are in development by Russia and development of the treaty. She added, they're basically saying, yo, fuck it, we're taking the gun out your hand. You don't understand. Striking missile facilities in Russia could very likely trigger war. They're going to go to Russia and strike Russian military missile facilities. They're going to basically run a blitz on Russia. They're going to go to Russia's own country. Imagine a man walks into your house and says, you are not allowed to defend yourself. You know, hey, here you can't just be having guns up in your house. But imagine you live in Babylon, and well, none of the brothers. But imagine the man lives in Babylon. He's got his gun license. He's got his gun, and the next man roll up in there and say, hey, you know, you did what you had to do to get these weapons, but fuck it, I don't like you having them. I'm blowing your house down and I'm taking this shit. That's basically what America's trying to do. World War III is inevitable, man. Striking Russian missile facilities in Russia could very likely trigger war and would require a massive US military effort. Hutchinson may have been referring to countermeasures in terms of missile defenses or the proposed development of new US weapons that would target Russia's treaty violating missiles. So basically they're on the thing of, you got guns, we got bigger guns, man. You know? We have been trying to send a message to Russia for several years that we know they are violating the treaty. We have shown Russia the evidence that they are violating the treaty, Hutchinson said. Hey, Hutchison said, whatever her name is. But anyway, at the end of the day, a lot of death is going to happen, man. That's say if you're Yahweh Shai, you can read Isaiah the 34th chapter. Yes, first verse. Come near, ye nations, to hear and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear all that is, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord Yahweh is upon all nations. Hey, there's 18 biblical nations that the Lord created, and he's angry, man. He's angry. He's looking to restore Israel, but and the other 17 are going to get punished. And his fury upon all their armies. Ye have utterly destroyed them. Ye have delivered them to the slaughter. Hey, it says, their slain shall also be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. The scripture also says that the blood shall be as high as the horse's back, and horses are powerful animals. So like, even back in ancient times, they would have been greater in stature and a lot stronger. But hey, the Lord's indignation, the Lord's righteous anger is upon all of these nations of the earth, man. Every single one of them, man. And all of them that are in that valley of Jehoshaphat, the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, the Most High's judgment. You gotta understand that, he's gonna cause a lot of death to come upon you, man, like I keep on saying. And all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. What do you think that's through? Nuclear warfare, man, which is what we was just reading about, because those nukes are gonna be used. And all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a fallen fig from off the tree. So like, but my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumeon and upon the people of my curse the judgment. The Lord is going to bring a lot of death, man. The sword of the Lord Yahweh is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, and with the fat of kidneys of rams. For the Lord Yahweh have a sacrifice in Bozrah. Bozrah is a major city in Edomite territory, and a great slaughter on the land of Idumea. Hey, when we get into that kingdom, first and foremost, I just want to say, man, like Apostle Tahar said, and I always quote this, man, the Most High Yahweh is going to have to bring crackers from outer space, because I'm telling you, brothers, hey, man, we're going to go to work on these devils, man. We really are. Hey, the Lord is going to get the first blow, man. It says his sword shall be bathed in heaven, man. Hey, man, oh man, it said it shall be filled with blood, it shall be made fat with fatness. The Lord Yahweh is going to put it in the minds of these soldiers, in the minds of these countries, first and foremost, to send their soldiers down to the Middle East, because that's where that World War III, according to prophecy, is going to happen. Yeah, and he's going to put it, he's going to put it in the mind of these soldiers to try to fight him, and you know what's going to go down. Joel, the 3rd chapter, it says, I will gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is Yahweh Shaphat, as I mentioned earlier, and will plead with them for my people and my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered amongst the nations and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people, and given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Hey, the Lord is going to bring a lot of death, man. A lot of death. A lot of deaths. A lot of deaths. So like, you got to understand, the Lord is not playing, man. Verse 9 says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty man, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I am strong. Hey, get your instruments of agriculture into weaponry, and let the weak say I am strong. That's exactly what's happening out here, man. You got to understand that, back in the ancient world, not even the ancient world, but back a couple of years back, North Korea, for example, would never have threatened America. Iran wouldn't have, but Iran's got Russia's backing, and ultimately North Korea knows that America's got a lot of enemies, man, and they also know that they now have the nuclear capability also in North Korea. So if America wants to try a thing, they're at least gonna get a shot in, Hey, man. It says, verse 11, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Tivor cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord Yahweh Shai. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there I will sit to judge all the heathen round about. The Lord's gonna come through. Hey, when it talks about the chariot in 2nd Ezra and the violent multitude, that's gonna happen within the Middle East in the midst of their fighting. Hey, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full of and the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. The fats overflow. Hey, did we not read that the Lord's blood is going to be filled with fat? Hey, from the killing. Hey, man. for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision, man. The Yahweh Shaphat. Hey, the scriptures already been written. Hey, the sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. The Lord also shall roar out of Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushua will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. Israel is going to be delivered, man, and that World War III is going to kick off so that this society can finally collapse, man, and Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is going to establish Israel afterwards when he returns, man. That's what we're waiting for. That's what we're striving for, man. Hey, man, let the saints be joyful in their glory. Let them sing aloud in their bed with the high praises of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua in their mouth and a two-edged sword in their hand. A roughly paraphrasing, the Lord is going to give us the power, man, to rule over these nations, to put them in subjection. But before that, we got to keep striving. Wait for that chip to come out, the World War III. But it's prophesied, man. You know, I've read Joel, the 3rd chapter. We just went into Isaiah, the 34th chapter, Matthew's as well. You know, Matthew's the 24th chapter. The Lord is going to bring death. The Lord is going to bring a lot of destruction. You just got to hope that you don't get caught up on the right side, on the wrong side. So like you're on the wrong side of that. Don't get caught up on the wrong side of that. Shalom. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai Barakah.